Hello and welcome to Gangs All Here. My name is Ryan Sampson, the host and producer of the show. That's my guy Frankie from U Stadium. We're going to talk to Coz here in a sec. The Jets are playing the Broncos in London, Week 6, down 0. They're 0-5 on the season. It's just not been pretty for the Jets, as all you fans know. But we appreciate you guys always coming in here every single week, doing the conversations with Coz, breaking down the games on Mondays, doing the previews with us here on today's show, and then, of course, the post-game live shows with Frankie and myself. But look, today we're going to talk about Aaron Glenn's comments about this Jets offense. We'll talk about Quinnen Williams' comments about the Jets defense. And honestly, we're going to preview this game and see if the Jets actually have a chance against the Denver Broncos in London. Stick around. And joining us now from London is our Jets beat writer, Brian Costello. This is his 4th time out there in London covering the Jets as they're going to embark on a very tough game here against the Denver Broncos. 9:30 here local time on Sunday morning. But let's check in. Coz, how you doing today, man? How's it going over there in London?
It's going well. It's long days. The Jets are pretty far from I'm in central London where my hotel is, and Jets are about an hour 20 bus ride outside of here. So that's been interesting. But yeah, it's always different being over here.
It's got a pretty good fan base from what we understand the Jets. Like they're trying to build that Jets fan base there, feels like, with Woody Johnson. And do you get a sense that there's a little bit more hype every time you go out there when the Jets are playing in London?
I'll be able to answer that better on Sunday, Ryan. Like it's sort of like Super Bowl week to me. Like Super Bowl week when you go to a city, like there's not a lot of buzz like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and all of a sudden Thursday people start coming to the city. Friday it gets a lot more. Saturday, Sunday. So like I feel like the Jets fans haven't really infiltrated London yet, but I imagine that's happening probably tonight and tomorrow a little bit more. But definitely the one thing that stands out to me is the first trip here was 2015 when they played the Dolphins and it was at Wembley Stadium, and the loudest cheers were for punts. Whenever there was a punt, either to either side, they cheered because that was like rugby, and they recognized the kicking game. And I remember too, every team had a jersey in the stadium. Like there was, it was Jets Dolphins, but there was Bears jerseys and Rams jerseys and Chargers jerseys. Like everything was represented there. And then like last year felt like an NFL home football game for the Vikings. Like if it was definitely different. Like and they were cheering at the right spots, and it kind of felt different. And the NFL has kind of made a priority of making these feel like home games. So like last year the Vikings had the horn and the drum, and the Jets this year, I wrote a story about the other day. They're doing a lot of efforts to bring the chant here.
Yeah.
They're giving out flags, so it should look green and white on TV. Um, it should feel like a Jets home game. Don't make any jokes, guys. Don't make any jokes about Jets home
I
games.
was about
But
to.
it should feel a little different.
The Jets had an interesting tweet, Kaz and Ryan. They tweeted, "Just touched down in London town," and a bunch of fans are
Fourth
quote tweeting.
quarter.
Yeah, and a bunch of fans are quote tweeting the Jets social media account saying, "Can you please just leave the team there, please?"
But I saw one that said it's amazing that they touched down before the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I saw that one. Yes.
Well, we'll get into that those comments in a little
I do
bit.
feel for the Jets social media team. Like there's
nothing they can
nothing
do.
they could
Yeah.
there's nothing they can put out right now. It's not gonna just get destroyed by you people. So and they're just doing their job.
They are. They're trying. Look, the Jets 0-5. I didn't see this coming. I'm sure you guys didn't see 0-5 coming to start the year. I know the schedule was not easy. This is where after the Broncos, it's supposed to lighten up, but the Denver Broncos are legit. Last year, the Jets played the Broncos. It was a close game. That was a game that you could have argued the Jets should have won that game if they hit that kick at the end. They had every chance and opportunity to. But this is a different Broncos team, and this definitely is a different Jets team. So I want to start with the defense, Kaz, and this defense just has not been giving them many opportunities to stay in these games. And I want to, while it's fresh in our minds here, and as we see the quotes coming out from Quinnen Williams, these are some pretty interesting quotes, and I wanted to get your reaction and thoughts on them, and you too, Frankie. Quinnen was asked about the defense and this team starting 0-5. He says, look, we're 0-5, and the defense has been the problem. The reason why we're 0-5, probably the worst defense in the league. Actually, Baltimore's worst on based on points per game, but he says that they have to be better and that they have to get them in these games. So when you hear those comments from arguably the second best or best defensive player on this Jets roster, what are your thoughts, guys?
Yeah, well, it was interesting. Quinnen wasn't even that response was to a question that really wasn't even about the defense. Some of the big theme of the week has been the Jets are getting away and they can hunker down over here and kind of bond as a team. And Quinnen was asked about that, and he basically said he basically shot it down where like everyone else has kind of fed into that. And Quinnen was like, it doesn't matter if we're here in Forum Park. And his point, he said like it wouldn't matter. We're 0-5. The defense is the reason. I mean, I think he's owning it, which is good. Like there's no denying the fact that this defense has been awful. It's hard to think of one thing this defense is doing well right now. I'm hard pressed to come up with anything because they're they're not forcing. Well, obviously, the takeaways has been a huge headline. They haven't forced any takeaways. They're not getting to the quarterback right now. They're not even affecting the quarterback. You forget about sacks. They're not even getting close to him. And their like numbers aren't terrible on third down, but like to me, a really underrated part of that game against the Cowboys was the 3rd and 1, like the 28 in the second quarter. And Tyler Barron has Javonte Williams wrapped up in the backfield
Yep.
and lets them bust loose for 2 yards, and then the next play is a touchdown, right? So there's like they have these like they can't get off the field at these like critical moments, and then they just, they collapsed at the end of the first half the other day. They collapsed down the stretch against Tampa Bay. They're just not coming up with the stops when they need them. So I don't know. I don't know what they're doing well. Steve Wilkes did say they've done some great things. I probably should have followed up and said, what are those great things? I
Yeah.
didn't catch it at the time and saw it later. But yeah, it's good on Quinnen for admitting it and not, being in denial about this, but they need to fix it.
Kaz, the one thing that's really bugging me about this Jets defense are the missed tackles. There
Yeah,
is
that's the
no
other part I
excuse.
missed.
Yeah. Like to that play you just brought up with Tyler Barron, missed tackle. They have the 5th most missed tackles in the league. They're one of the worst tackling teams in the league. And there's no excuse for it. They have players that should be, especially in the secondary, were brought here as liabilities potentially in coverage, like a Brandon Stevens, like an Andre Sisco, but guys that are actually good tacklers.
Yeah.
How is nobody able to tackle on this defense is alarming. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. It's effort tackling. I mean, they practiced tackling the entire offseason, didn't they? That was
the live tackling drills during training camp.
Yeah, live tackling drills didn't
Yeah,
do much.
that was a huge point of
shows you the
emphasis.
training camp stories.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah,
doesn't mean
actually,
anything.
Frankie, I saw Pro Football Reference has them number 1 in missed tackles, tied with the Bengals. I think everyone has kind of different,
really?
different interpretations of missed tackles, but yeah, Pro Football Reference I used today had it number 1. Yeah, I do think there are some guys playing, Tyler Barron being one who shouldn't be playing due to injuries and other reasons. So like Tyler Barron, Kiko, Malagoa is playing. Braden McGregor's had a bigger role, like because of the injury to Jermaine. Michael Clemens has had a bigger role, but I think he'd be playing anyway, but he is having a bigger role. So like, yeah, the injuries at linebacker, the Jermaine injury's been big. Will McDonald is a liability in the run game, so they've been taking him off the field. So I do think some of those are factors, but to me, like the pursuit angles have been awful.
Awful.
Like, and that's like basic football where like you do that when you're 13 years old or whatever. You learn pursuit angles, and I remember Rex would always do a drill at the beginning of practice where he with the football over his head, and they would go this way. They would all run this and he would do pursuit angle, like a whole defense pursuing to that side of that side of the field, and they're like you watch some of these plays, whether it's the 66-yard touchdown, or not touchdown, 60-yard run by Javonte Williams, or the tight end screen for the touchdown, where like guys are just so out of position and getting blocked, and it's just bad. It's really bad defense right now.
Even the pursuit angle is really quick to the quarterback.
Yeah.
You see them. They don't have good pursuits when the quarterbacks get outside the
in
pocket.
their rush lanes. Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's especially alarming considering Jamie Sherwood, who you expected to have a good year in this Glenn defense, and they paid him this offseason, and clearly they liked him from what they watched on the tape last year. That I don't know why you wouldn't pay him. Why you would pay him if you didn't like him? So he's having a really rough year, and you see him on the tape a lot. He's getting swallowed up by offensive linemen. There's a lot of pursuit angles like Kaz is talking about where you're like, dude, where are you going? The ball's going the other way, and you're just not reading the play well at all. And I think the other thing that's hurting them too, Kaz, is their blitz percentage and their blitz usage, it just is very, very predictable. And it's a lot of 5-man pressures, and it's not simulated pressures. And guys are just walking up to the line of scrimmage, and the quarterback is able to diagnose it early and say, all right, safety's coming, Cisco's coming here, or, hey, look.
They're not getting home.
They're not getting home on that.
Either. Yeah.
So they have 5-on-5 for these guys. That's on Wilks, I feel like, to make that adjustment at least to, like, how do we change up our blitz packages here and try to make this a little bit more difficult for the offense?
Yeah, it looks like a lot of times the offense knows what the Jets defense is doing, right? Which means you're probably too predictable and you got to mix things up. And the Jamie and Sherwood point, Ryan, I think, too, one of the bigger things that's underrated is just like he's got to be the guy that gets him in position now. And I just don't think he has the experience in the defense, experience overall where he's doing it. Like that was just an underrated part of CJ Mosley's game.
Yeah.
CJ was just really, really good when you talk to people about putting the Jets in the right position. And like I remember that was like because Salo was like skeptical about CJ Mosley when he got here. He didn't think he fit his defense. And I remember like 4 games into the first season, he changed the play against the Titans. He audibled, and they were like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" Oh, that worked, And so I think CJ had seen so much football and was so good at it that it's tough. I think they are missing that in the middle right now.
Yeah, it's been tough go of it for this defense, and the big question is like, can you get better production out of your stars as well? And Quinnen and Sauce, Sauce got beat for the long touchdown to Pickens. Give up the third down.
Watching that play, did you watch that play back? The Sauce
I did.
Play?
It's a big offensive pass interference on George Pickens that they don't call.
But also there's 2 safeties running next to each other.
There are.
So like I don't know a lot of defense, but I'm gonna guess Sauce he probably shouldn't have said it. But I'm going to guess he's probably right that he's probably supposed to have safety help there because why are 2 guys running next to each other in the middle of the field? So, yeah, that's like, too, like these walk-in touchdowns and just blown assignments. And it's just, the defense, there's, like I said, hard to think of anything good they're doing right now.
The other thing that I'm noticing with this defense, and Saw specifically, they're not physical at all. There's nobody out there that's imposing any sort of will on any players on the offensive side. Saw specifically, he does not like to get physical. I mean, he's not a guy.
Well, he also gets flagged when he gets physical.
Correct.
He does.
Good point, Coz.
I think he's nervous about that right now.
Do you guys really think, and not to get into that play, but I don't think that was OPI on Pickens. If they're fighting, they're going to allow it both ways. Sauce is being handsy. He's being handsy back. I don't think it's.
If it was OPI on Garrett the week before, that was OPI. If you think that wasn't OPI on Garrett, then that wasn't OPI. Like so that's the problem here is the consistency of the calls. Yeah. And for Jets fans, you just watched it get called on your guy.
True.
And it's funny. I was talking to guys before that Dallas game, and they were saying they were curious to see how they called Pickens because they're like Pickens does that on every play. He does that little push on every play. Like, are they going to call it on him like they called it on Garrett? And they didn't in that instance. And then I'm with you, Frankie. I don't think that's OPI. I think it should. My thing is it shouldn't have been called on Garrett.
True. Yeah.
So consistency. 100% agree. Fellas, let's go to the gang sounds off. I want to play sound from Coach Aaron Glenn, responding to a question our guy, Mr. Costello, had asked him about the Jets' offense not scoring early in these games this season.
You know what? That's something that we've talked about, over these last couple of weeks to make sure that. And listen, I understand from the outside that people are going to say, okay, we're getting yards because I don't know if teams are. No, listen, teams play in this league, and no one wants to just give up yards. I do think we get in a situation where we start to get in the groove a little bit, and that's any quarterback. And I think Justin has been getting in the groove in that situation also. Early in the season against Pittsburgh, I didn't think that was the case. Some people might say it, but I didn't think that was the case. Buffalo, listen, we just got our ass up against Buffalo. All right. Come back to Tampa. I thought Tyrod did a pretty good job in that game. So, and I can go on and on. But I understand what the naysayers are saying. I think our guys are doing a pretty good job as far as getting the passing game where it needs to be. And then we got to improve, and I know that. And we will improve in that situation. Listen, I have no issues with where we're at right now in the passing game.
So what's interesting there is, look, Aaron Glenn's going to defend his guys no matter what. I think he could try to build this narrative if he wants, that he has confidence in he has no issues with what this offense is doing currently. I think the run game actually has been doing a lot of good things for them this year. The turnovers are killing them, no doubt. But in the passing game, it's not been consistent at all. And the early scoring has certainly been an issue. Mr. Costello, I know you know this already, but I do want to say it for the podcast listeners. If you're wondering, since that week 1 game against the Steelers, the Jets have not scored in the first half an offensive touchdown. And to go to that point even further, they were losing 30-6 before they scored their first offensive touchdown against the Cowboys, which was in the fourth quarter. Against the Miami Dolphins, they were losing 17-3 before they scored their first offensive touchdown in the third quarter. They were losing 23-6 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They didn't score their first offensive touchdown till the fourth quarter. And then against Buffalo, they were losing 30-3. Again, in garbage time, they didn't score their first touchdown till the fourth quarter. So the narrative is not right in what Glenn is saying. And what's true is this offense is not getting off to good starts, and they're not scoring early. What is your thoughts, Coz?
Yeah, it's tough, Ryan, because they actually are getting off to good starts. Like the first drives have been good the last couple of weeks, but they're just not scoring touchdowns. And then they seem to vanish for a while in the passing game. The running game, like you said, like Brees was really cranking last week off long runs, but there's no explosiveness. Like, somebody, I think it was Scott Turner or someone today said they're having explosive plays. And I'm like, where? Like the play to Garrett against Pittsburgh is really the only like I get like they count anything 16-yard passes and explosive.
Some Brees runs, maybe.
Like Brees runs. No, he was talking about passing game though. He said in the passing game we got explosive plays. I can't remember. Like I remember him missing Garrett down the sideline, but like they count 16-yard passes as explosives. I don't really count 16-yard passes as explosive. To me, it's 25 yards. To me, it's 25 yards or more as an explosive pass. Run 15 yards. So. Yeah, I think the passing game has been bad. And I am one of the naysayers, I guess, because I do think these teams have been going into a shell in the fourth quarter, just like we have a 20-point lead, just a little delaying go over your head, give them anything underneath that they want. We're just going to, milk the clock here as much as we can. But Aaron Glenn, I guess, would disagree with me.
The thing that bothers me so much about this, guys, is he's denying, and I don't want to rip him right now, but I'm almost tempted to. He's denying that garbage time yards is a real thing in the NFL. Yeah. So again, we've been using the word gaslighting. I feel like he's trying to rewrite what is just factual stuff in NFL world. So I went a little bit outside the box here. I go to ChatGPT and I ask ChatGPT, I go, are garbage time yards a real thing in the NFL, or no defense would ever just want to give up yards? I asked ChatGPT, I'm like, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe my thoughts are off. Maybe I need to go to the AI bot. AI bot goes, yes, garbage time yards are absolutely a real thing in the NFL. Garbage time stats exist. Defenses often change their approach late in games when the outcome is no longer in doubt, leading to easy yards and points for the offense that doesn't reflect normal competitive conditions. All right. I wouldn't ask Aaron Glenn about this because it's ChatGPT, but come on, Aaron. And all jokes aside, like,
I'd like to bring up ChatGPT with Aaron Glenn. I'd like to see how that goes.
Guys, can you please do it? Please, I'll buy you dinner if you do. I'll Uber Eats
Aaron,
you something.
Did I do a podcast with Frankie? He talked to ChatGPT about garbage time.
Well, look,
that'd be a good look.
So, but I will say this, guys. It's clear Glenn is paying attention to what's being written in the media and the narratives that are being built here.
Yeah. So, well, what's funny is, like, he always says we don't pay attention to the outside noise. He seems to know everything that's being said out there. Not even
true.
I think social media stuff, like, he knows, because there was one a few weeks ago that he brought up that I was like, whoa, how did he get there already? Like, it was, he knew something that had been said. I forget what it was exactly, but it clicked with me. Like, he's definitely paying attention to what's being said. Most guys do. The only guy who I ever covered that said he didn't, and I believed him, was Todd Bowles. Because Todd really didn't pay attention to it. Everybody else pays attention to it.
Well, look, for this offense, I agree with you, Kaz. It needs to have more explosive in the passing attack. But this goes back to what we talked about in the offseason. They don't have a legit secondary weapon to throw to. I think Arian Smith has potential just because I've seen plays where he gets open, and we haven't seen Fields take those shots downfield. Granted, the offensive line was not as good last week in pass pro, But I just feel like with Justin Fields, this is where it all comes back to. You want to get a proper evaluation of this guy and see if, hey, is this guy actually a franchise quarterback? Is this like his last chance here? He's got Garrett Wilson, he's got Breece Hall, but he really doesn't have a secondary weapon on top of that in terms of the passing attack. It feels like a detriment, and you're putting him in a bad spot for Fields to really evaluate him here because he doesn't have that weapon. Am I wrong to think that?
Not completely, but the only thing I'll say is there's plays you see when you watch the games back where you can see that they call a deep shot and he hesitates.
Yep.
And he seems to this has been another point of debate this week, I'm sure. Like I brought up the average time to throw to him, and he clearly does not like that stat. And he said it was not fair to guys who scramble, and I'm sure he has a point to a degree. Like, I'm sure that's right. But when you watch him play football, sometimes you can see him thinking, and that's not good, right? Like, the ball's just not coming out. And I think that happens on some of the deep balls is he's just kind of holding it, and then the next thing you know, there's a guy in his face and he decides to run. So, we've talked about the second receiver thing ad nauseum. Like, it's definitely real, but I do think there's ways to get Arian Smith or Garrett Wilson down the field open, and they have. Garrett was wide open.
Missed
and
that shot,
he had it there, and he missed him on the throw. So, yes, to some degree, I think you're right, Ryan, but I also think he's not processing quickly.
I think the mistake the Jets made with not getting a wide receiver 2 isn't necessarily for Justin Fields, because traditionally Justin Fields doesn't really get the ball to his wide receiver 2s and 3s. He goes wide receiver 1, tight ends, and basically that's it. The issue with the wide receiver 2 problem comes with the Tanner Engstrand kind of offense that they ran in Detroit, that kind of McVay kind of system that is constantly wanting to utilize the middle of the field.
Use everyone.
Crossers. Yeah,
everyone gets.
So the more you have there, the better. So for him, it's not right. But I get why you're looking at Justin Fields coming into the season. You're Darren Mugen. You're like, we're going to run the hell out of the football, and we're going to target Garrett, and we got Mason Taylor in the second round. Well, that's good enough. But I think Tanner needs more, and I'm sure they'll address it at some point.
Like we said, they need more explosive plays in the passing attack.
Yeah.
Because right now it's
I just wonder if there's going to be a team that takes Garrett away.
I think it's going to be this weekend. Patrick Surtain locked him down last year, and he's going to be facing him again this week. So
that game was weird conditions.
I mean, I will say last year was a mess of a weather.
Yeah.
That game. That was tough. So, yeah.
We'll see.
Somebody's going to do something to take him away. Like, so far, they've been able to go to him whenever they want, really. I mean, they've gotten away from him at times, but he's gotten a lot of passes. Mason Taylor has emerged the last couple of weeks, I think, as a guy that's been open a lot. So, I'm curious to see if someone takes Garrett away.
Yeah, I think, again, we have to put context in what we're saying here, too, is that you just hit on it. Garrett wasn't targeted until the third quarter, his second target. Like, he had one reception in the first half. Like, that's unacceptable as an offense overall.
I'm curious too. They really didn't have design runs for Fields.
Nope.
I asked Engstrand about that today. He kind of hinted that maybe some of them were called and they had to switch out of them because of different looks or whatever. But yeah, I think that's going to be such a big part of this offense. I was shocked.
Yeah, he has not been using his legs as much unless it's a scramble. Design run-wise, they have not run as much read option.
Yeah.
A key matchup to watch, fellas. We got to hit it up here. I know I just hit on mine. I was going to do JFM versus offensive line, but you know what? I'm just going to go with Sauce versus Surtain. Surtain's getting paid as one of the best corners in the NFL. He has a reputation as being the best in the NFL. Garrett's going to have a really tough time against him. Surtain was very, very good against him when I went back and watched the film on Garrett's route tree. So I'm looking forward to seeing how Patrick Surtain and Garrett Wilson, and if, like you said, Coz, can they continue to get the ball to Garrett? Frankie?
I'm going to go with one of my favorite players in the league, a non-Jet, versus one of my favorite players on the Jets. I'm going Olu Fashanu lining up against a player that's leading the league in sacks that I think is one of the best edge rushers in football, maybe the best edge rusher in football, and Nick Bonito. Nick Bonito has 7 sacks. The next closest player has 5.5. He's been getting after the quarterback basically whenever he wants. He this past offseason. Late in the offseason, they signed him to a 4-year, $106 million mega extension. They called it the highest ever for a non-quarterback in Broncos history. Nick Bonito's been getting after it. Olu has looked good one week and looked bad the next week. Looked good and bad. This is a big game that I'm going to be looking at that matchup, and I want to see how Olu's going to perform. PFF only has him giving up a sack, one all year. I would question that, but again, this is a big game for Olu to kind of build back that sort of confidence that a lot of fans had coming into the season for him.
Guys, what's your
All right,
matchup?
well, Ryan, you took the one I was going to go with, Garrett and Sertan. But so I'll go a different route. I'll go Sean Payton versus Aaron Glenn.
Listen, Glenn was on his staff in New Orleans.
Glenn played for him in New Orleans and then was on his staff in New Orleans, right? This is one of his big mentors, facing off with him. And at some point, Aaron Glenn's got to outcoach somebody, right? And I don't feel like I feel like they've been outcoached a lot of weeks here. And he's got to do it. Like, so can he? This is a tough week. Good team they're facing. They're in London. They're 0-5. Like, this is where you got to coach. And can he find a way to get this team to play better, frankly? And can he outcoach his mentor here?
Yeah, it's funny how he Sean Payton, I think he got a lot of criticism, obviously, when he got that Denver job because they traded for him. And he seems to have really turned this program around with Bo Nix. And you just wonder, can Aaron Glenn somehow pull a magic trick here in a couple of years and make this team somewhat resemble what the Broncos are building right now? Because, like, the Broncos, they just had an impressive win against the Eagles.
Yeah.
Like, they look really, really good.
The one thing the Broncos
someone pointed out to me that the Broncos defense, his first year was a mess.
Yep.
And they had been pretty good under Fangio previously, and then and I remember they gave up 70 points to the Dolphins.
Yep.
Remember that game?
Oh yeah.
Wow. And they had a hard time that first year he was there with Vance Joseph as the coordinator, and now they're one of the better units. They're making the point that, like, be patient with the Jets. But
I'll say something about the Broncos defense, Coz. They lead the league in sacks as a team with 21 sacks. The next highest team has 16. They're really getting after the quarterback. Now, there's a trivia question for Coz, an early trivia.
I was just about – no, go ahead.
Early trivia. No, because I want to see if he knows this. I want to see if anyone's going to get this. I like this. I looked this up. The Broncos are on pace to have 72 sacks this year, 71.4, 72. That would tie an NFL record with which defense in the 80s? I'll go there. I mean, if you're Coz, do you have anything?
85 Bears.
You're 1 year off. The
84
Bears actually have the most sacks all time. They have the most sacks in a game with 12. They lost in, I believe, the championship game in the next year. Obviously, we all know about the 85 Bears.
Yep.
But yeah, their defense is awesome, man.
And who's the GM of the Jets now? It was formerly the assistant over there, and now
Well, that's a good point, yeah.
Darren Muji.
Yeah, there's a good story at ESPN about all the guys who are now GMs who came from that front office, because there's a ton of them.
Yeah. So
yeah.
like I said, can Glenn build this in a couple of years to be like Sean Payton? I don't know. I think a lot of fans are already over this Aaron Glenn era, which is crazy. It's only 5 games in, but
Better find a Bo Nix.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're right about that.
So that brings up trivia, and like Frankie just laid off there, I want to start off with this. Stump Coz. Who has the most rushing yards all time in a single game versus the Broncos in Jets history?
Oh, it's the most ever. Crowell.
Isaiah Crowell. I didn't
Yeah.
stump Coz. 219
Wow.
yards, 1 touchdown. That was in
Yeah.
a 34-16 win over the Broncos on October 6th, 2018. I'll give you extra bonus points if you can tell me who the quarterbacks were in that game.
Well, Sam Darnold was the Jets quarterback in that game. The Broncos quarterback in that game would have been, oh boy, Flacco was still in Baltimore, so it wasn't him. Trevor Siemian?
No, it was Case Keenum.
Case
Wow.
Keenum.
Case Keenum was the starter in
That's
that
right, he
game.
was there.
Brees Hall, second all-time in a single game versus the Broncos with 177 rush yards in Week 5 and 31-21 win for the
23.
Broncos in 23. That was
For
big.
the Jets,
That was
right?
a big
Jets
win for the
won over
Jets.
the
Yep.
Great win.
Jets
Yeah.
win over the Broncos. All right, fellas, let's go to over/under. Let's make some prop bets here. Not pretty for Mr. Frankie Costello last week. Frankie Costello. Frankie Vittorini last week.
That's a great name, Frankie Costello.
Frankie
I wish
Costello.
my last name was Costello.
Frankie, you were 1-6 last week.
That's crazy. I thought I did well last week.
You did terrible.
Are you sure you put everything down
I did,
properly?
and then Kaz was 3-4. So that puts the season total. Kaz is 18-18, exactly 500, and Frankie is 15-21.
Oh my
So
Lord.
you're 3 games behind.
I need a big week, guys.
3 picks behind, I should say. So let's start off with anytime touchdown score. I think this was fun. You both were wrong on this one.
I should have been right. Justin Fields almost had that rushing touchdown.
Almost.
Andrew Beck would have been good odds. on
Yeah,
that.
that was a good one.
So give me your anytime touchdown score in this game, Kaz.
I'm gonna go Brees Hall. I feel like he is due for a touchdown.
Frankie?
I'm going to go a little wild here. I'm going to go with Isaiah Davis. I'm feeling a little Isaiah Davis. I think they want to utilize him a little bit. You're in London.
I think Brees might, his head might explode if they right? Like the guy's having a good season. He doesn't have any touchdowns.
I know.
Yeah, it's true.
Give him the
Wow.
ball,
I didn't
give him
think
the
of
ball at the 2-yard line.
that.
Justin Fields, 191.5 pass yards. Kaz.
That's a good number. I'll go over.
Frankie.
Kaz is thinking about those garbage time yards, isn't
Mm-hmm.
he? I'm going to go under. I want to go over because of garbage time, but I'm going to go under.
Justin Fields, 36.5 rush yards.
Over.
Frankie?
I'm going to go under. I got to catch up on Kaz right here. I got to get some wins.
Are you putting yourself in a bad position right now because of this?
No, I think it's going to be a low-scoring game.
Bo Nix, 1.5 passing touchdowns.
Under.
Frankie?
I'm going over.
Okay, and then Brees Hall, 68.5 rush yards.
Frankie's got to go first on this one.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to go,
68.5 rush yards.
I'm going to go over.
It's a good number.
Yeah, I'm going to go over. This is a good number.
I'll go over as well.
All right. Got Garrett Wilson. It's a low number this week, 55.5 receiving yards.
Well, I went over for Fields, so I got to go over for Garrett.
Okay, Frankie?
I'm going to go over. Even though I did go under for Fields, I think he'll just get that.
And then finally, Cortland Sutton, 61.5 receiving yards.
It's a big number.
Under.
Oh. It's going to come down to a Sauce play. Sauce going to give up the big reception against Cortland or not? I'm going to go under. I'm going to follow Coz with that one.
All right. Let's finish this up. We got to pick this game. Jets are a 7-point dog. I got it as FanDuel right now. Currently, they are a 7-point dog to the Denver Broncos in London, 9:30 in the morning. Wake up, Jets fans. Oh, man, it's going to be a rough morning for them to wake up and watch this game. I'll start with Frankie. Jets, Broncos. What's your prediction here, bud?
Listen, guys, Aaron Glenn needs this game. Aaron Glenn wants this game. It's in London. It's weird. It's different conditions, different time zones, travel, weather, whatever. But the Jets just don't have it this year, guys. The Jets don't have it. That Broncos pass rush is just too much. Fields is going to take a beating until I see otherwise. I got the Broncos just easily taking this one. My score prediction is 31-14.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to be particularly close.
And
People
is
are-
that a 31-14 like we've seen
The last
recently,
couple
where
weeks.
it's actually 31-3, and then
I think it'll be more on the it's actually a 31-14. And by the way, the Broncos in the first quarter actually start really slow. They're 31st in EPA in the first quarter of teams.
That's a stat.
Yeah, so I could see it being a little bit close-ish, in the second quarter. But then I just think once Bo Nix and those guys get moving, J.K. Dobbins, by the way, is top 5 in the league in rushing.
Yep.
He's been killing teams this year. There's 4 teams in the NFL with over 700 rushing yards. The Jets are one of them. Another team in that department is the Denver Broncos. Solid offensive line. It's just too much, man. They got too many weapons. Troy Franklin, and this defense doesn't know what they're doing, and the offense is still trying to figure things out.
Guys.
All right, Frankie. The negativity has gotten to Frankie, Ryan. You guys are all so negative.
What is there to be positive about?
He's going to be more negative.
Negativity, I'm going to bring some positivity to the show.
Yes.
The biggest development for this game on Sunday did not happen this week in England. It happened last Sunday in Philadelphia. The Broncos beating the Eagles was huge for the Jets because I think the Broncos are going to roll in here thinking, hey, we beat the Super Bowl champs. This team's 0-5. This team's 0-5. I see you, Ryan. I see you mouthing over there. 0-5.
That's what you're saying.
We're going to beat this team with our eyes closed. They can't play defense. They can't play offense. Maybe they'll give Chris Banjo some credit because he was in Denver. But they're going to come in here. They're going to come into Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Sunday thinking the game is won. And Aaron Glenn's Jets are going to shock England and the world and win this game. The defense is going to play well. I'll go this far. The Broncos are only going to kick field goals in this game. The English crowd will love it. All the kicks. The Jets will look like a professional football team for the first time in a while, and they are going to win this game 24-15.
Kaz, did you hit up a pub here before we came on the show?
A little bit of wine in
Just
the lobby.
Diet Pepsi. Just
Diet Pepsi.
Oh, that was red. I think you
The
had some wine.
NFL. It's the NFL. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
And I believe in the emotions of football, and I think the Broncos are going to be feeling themselves in this game, and they're not going to know what hit them.
Oof.
Trap games are real.
I know. That was a classic trap game right there, if it lays out the way Kaz just pointed out. Look, I have zero confidence in this team. The defense is horrendous. I cannot believe how bad it has gotten for this football roster. Guys have taken steps back so bad. Listen, they're not going to be able to stop the run. They're going to have a tough time with J.K. Dobbins. They're going to have a hard time with Courtland Sutton. Like, Sauce is going to have a tough day with Courtland Sutton, I feel like. That Sean Payton, he's going to know exactly how to diagnose this defense with some great offensive plays. They're going to get their tight ends involved. They'll have Marvin Mims on an end around, and he'll rush for a touchdown. It's going to be a blowout, 38-10. I'll give them a touchdown, a garbage time touchdown.
You were going to say 38-3.
I was going to say 38-3. Actually, I'll stick with it. 38-3. The Jets get blown out. I don't even think they had a garbage time touchdown versus the Broncos. The Broncos defense is legit, by the way. So I got Broncos 38, Jets 3. This is only going to get louder for Aaron Glenn. This is only going to get...
Aaron Glenn refers to the naysayers.
Well, I'll say
Right
this.
there.
That's fine. I would love to have this conversation with him because I would say to him, I was a big believer in you before the season. I was buying 10
wins. 10 wins, Frankie.
I was buying the goods
Gotta
that
make
he
a
was
run,
selling.
Kaz, 8 in a row.
I was buying the goods, but they have gotten actually worse as a football team with pretty much the same roster as last year. That's a bad sign from the coach. It's a bad sign from this coaching staff. I think Steve Wilkes is a bum, to be honest with you, and I don't think he knows how to call a defense. And offenses are pointing this out really easily right now to diagnose the defense that's coming at them. Offensively, we've gone over it. They don't do anything. They don't do anything well besides run the ball, and they can't finish, and they turn the ball over, and they let that be the ultimate deciding factor, even if it's in the first half. Oh, we turned the ball over in the red zone. Guess that's it for us in this one. Let's pack it up, boys. And the effort it's just not there anymore. So
Yeah,
I don't
I'll say
see fight
this about the season though. I'll give Aaron. I'll be a little positive here about Aaron Glenn. Ready? I'll be a little bit positive. It's unfortunate how they lost a few of those games early on, the Pittsburgh game, and you can I guess look at what was another game? The Bucs game. Yes,
Tampa.
Exactly. Yeah, Tampa. There we go. Sorry, it slipped me. It's unfortunate when you lose games like that so early. You almost think like you're never gonna win, and it's deflating for everybody. So he's got to find almost second life right now. And I don't like the messaging. I'm not a fan of it. What the messaging has been, but he's going to have to find second life. And I think he has the head for it. Like, I think he's tough. He's a tough person. And what do they say? Tough times don't last, tough people do, or whatever that quote is. So, I mean, Aaron Glenn's a tough person. I think he'll find a way to get something out of this season that fans will look forward to. Now, that might be Will McDonald having a great year and Quinnen, finishing up well, or Jamie and Sherwood getting better. That might be the extent of it, but I don't think this team is going to be like the coat-tight Jets like everyone's saying. I just don't. I believe Aaron Glenn is a confident, tough person that'll figure something out, and it might not be enough. I still might want him gone at the end of the year, but I think he's got something there.
We'll see.
Yeah, I don't think the 0-17 stuff.
Yeah,
I think that's nonsense. They're gonna win games.
Yeah, totally.
I'll believe it when I see it. That's a show. Enjoy London, Coz. Enjoy the game on Sunday.
Are they gonna be 0-10? You think?
I think people should stop circling the Panthers as an automatic win. Panthers are.
How about the Bengals with Joe Flacco?
Bengals with Joe Flacco, it can happen. So that's your first win of the season, maybe. I don't see them winning more than 4 games now. Like, it's just not. It's not looking promising for them.
Coz, you see how many?
I heard there was a friendly wager in the office at 3.5 was the number set in the office.
Someone's got some inside details.
I heard Ryan might have gone under on 3.5.
Wow. Under 3.5 wins the rest of the year.
When was that played?
From 10 to 3,
like that.
It's one of the worst defenses I've ever seen in my life. One of the worst defenses I've ever seen in my life. And they're not even blitzing like hard. Like, go Greg Williams cover 0 blitz and actually throw everything at him. And that way I can say, all right, they're just trying everything to just make something happen.
Ryan's longing for the days of Greg Williams.
Yeah, that was a fun defense at least to see get blown up. Like, F it, just send everyone, They're not even doing that.
There's Jeff fans longing for the days of Joe Flacco here. You know how many people I've seen mention we should have never got rid of Flacco?
Ugh, it sucks right now.
All right. I got
right.
fish and chips in my future.
See you, man. Appreciate
fun,
you.
Coz.
Enjoy the weekend.
Guys.
Later.